Okay, enough of the Trump. Let's go ahead and
Yeah.
go to Ave.
Oh, yay. Awesome. Okay. So, um,
I like how before that happened, you were just like, when I said I'm gonna stop that, you're like, yep.
yeah. All right. Well, because I was super excited. Um, uh, okay. This is a little bit of a weird question, but it is something that I've heard a lot on YouTube. Okay. Now, as stupid as this is, and as much as I really don't like talking about it, there are a lot of flat earthers who reference scripture, and they say that God created the firmament, and they refer to that as a dome over the earth,
Yeah.
which would pertain to a I guess like a snow globe type of a flat world. Now, in the Bible, this firmament, does that actually mean what these people say it means?
Mhm. Yeah, so in my research of this, I used to be against the idea that that's how it was to be understood by the people of the Bible, that they had a different thing in mind. But
Hmm.
during my research, especially into now, um, one of my favorite scholars, Michael Heiser,
Mhm.
um, he basically, he was actually somebody that the flat earthers would use to support this. If you actually type in, there's a thing where it said that, village idiot, uh, globe earther versus um, Bible scholar, where Michael Heiser
Hmm.
is a Bible scholar, and he's saying, yes, these people they believed that this was a flat earth. The verses are indeed referring to, a flat earth, and he believes that that's the case. But the reason for it is different than what he thinks it is. So, um, and then the issue comes where people use Michael Heiser to come to that conclusion, to use that and back up their ideas. Anyways, so he had written the stuff about the flat Earth, and he was surprised that people are using his work. And so here's what I'm going to be quoting from. This is from his article he wrote in 2016 called "Christians Who Believe the Earth is Really Flat." Does it get any dumber than this?
Oh.
Yeah, because he was that kind of shocked. And actually, I'll screen share this. So, and by the way, I actually got a chance to talk to him, so I did ask him further. If you go watch my question, and in fact, I'll actually post a video probably tomorrow where I take that clip where it shows me asking, about the people that use his work. What does he think of that?
So the first question I have is concerned. I'm sure you're familiar with this particular issue whenever you gave a lecture a while back. But like concerning the flat Earth stuff that you've said about the flat Earth cosmology that is mentioned in the ancient Near East back then, what would your advice be to the flat earthers who read or use your material? Just simply that knowing that that's just what they're doing with it.
Well, I would say they need to be honest, and while they're articulating the phenomena of the text, and if they're going to use my name to, you know, I guess if they're doing that, it's going to be virtue by association. They need to be honest and not dishonest, and also inform people about how I think about such things. So, again, I'm not holding my breath that anybody's going to do that, but that's what I would want them to do.
All right,
Right.
so here's what he says. I'm afraid to ask the question. It seems whenever I do, something comes along to produce an affirmative answer. Lately, I've been seeing things on Facebook, or who have had those who follow my work sending me items that ask if I believe the earth is flat. That's a question I never thought I'd get, and I've gotten hundreds. Why the surprise? It's difficult for me to believe anyone is so gullible and, yes, stupid to believe the earth is flat. But
Yeah,
as with
that's right. That's
but
right.
as with so many other nuggets of nonsense, social media has brought forth its exhibits to demonstrate that reality. So he then, of course, mentions John Walton and these other scholars that say the same thing as he's saying. The Bible does use flat Earth language, but that doesn't mean that that's the idea that is being portrayed. So here's another thing. He says, my position is straightforward. The biblical writers do indeed describe a flat, round earth with other features the flat earthers skip. See below. They wrote about the world this way because they lived at the time before knowledge of the natural world was sufficient to demonstrate otherwise. But I don't believe the earth is really flat because the Bible tells me so. The knowledge of biblical writers that the biblical writers had of their physical surroundings isn't a truth proposition for biblical theology. Anyone who uses my work to prop up this idea without providing a disclaimer that I reject modern flat earth thinking is unprincipled and deliberately dishonest. So, let's see, I'm hearing something. All right. I can already hear the comeback. Let God be true and every man a liar. Let me just say, God isn't a liar. He knows and he knew the earth is a globe. It's just that the people he chose to produce this thing we call the Bible didn't know that. And God couldn't have cared less. The writers God used to produce the Bible were not inspired to write about things of the natural world that were beyond their own worldview and knowledge base. And to argue, as normal 24-hour day creationists do, that God gave them advanced scientific knowledge or that such advanced knowledge is encrypted in the biblical text means that what they wrote could never have communicated that important knowledge to their original audience or any audience prior to recent centuries. These approaches are absurd and undermine the communicated purpose of the Bible. So ultimately what he boils down to is that he believes that, the Bible is just a book that relates theology and will use some flat earth cosmology, but it doesn't teach that. And anyone who tries to do that, especially using Heiser's work to support that, is being, as he said, unprincipled and deliberately dishonest. So, if y'all want more information on that, there's an essay he wrote on this called Genesis and Ancient Near Eastern Cosmology, as well as a lecture called Old Testament Cosmology that you can find on YouTube.
Wow. All right. Yeah, that was very clear. And it is unfortunate, when you see all these ignorant people on YouTube, citing the Bible for their flat Earth beliefs. I mean, it's just insane. I'm like, how can you think that? I'm like, what? It's nonsense. It's nonsense.